Great to be here, Mr. President. Thank you for including me today. And to our friends at United Performance Metals, congratulations. Not often you get the President of the United States coming to your shop floor. It looked like you cleaned it up a little bit for him, too. I walked in and said, you could eat off this floor, and one of the workers said, don't try it. But you could, right? Listen, it's great to be here. This compact that we're talking about today, the Additive Manufacturing Forward, AM4 compact, is a great idea, because it's going to help create more jobs here in America. I appreciate that GE Aviation, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Siemens Energy have now decided to make a conscious effort to focus on U.S. suppliers. It sends a strong message, by the way, all around the world, to our allies and adversaries alike. As some of you may know, Congress is in the middle of trying to conference, which means find a resolution between differences of a House and Senate bill on competitiveness. In fact, just this past week, we finished all of the preliminary work on it. We're going to conference next week. I'm one of the conferees for that legislation. It's about competitiveness, and it would complement the AM Forward Pact that's being announced today. All the more important that we get it done. By the way, innovation is where manufacturing happens. Let me give you an interesting statistic. Since 2003, U.S. R&D expenditures in China have grown 13.6% annually on average. But in the United States, just 5% on average. We've got to turn that around, don't we? If we want America to remain the innovation leader, and we saw some great technology just a little while ago, this additive manufacturing, we got to make sure that we are making things here in America, because that's where the research follows. That's where the dollars are that are going to make us competitive. This bill also appropriates $52 billion to incentivize the domestic semiconductor industry through the CHIPS Act. As the President will tell you, this is very important to Ohio. We just have an announcement by Intel to make a $20 billion investment in the Columbus area. But he said it could be about $100 billion if we get this CHIPS Act passed, which is part of this competitiveness legislation. That's really important, not just to Central Ohio, not just to the Buckeye State, but to our entire country. All of these investments in our R&D ecosystem will boost our competitiveness. But it was not going to work if we're not protecting ourselves better from the bad actors, particularly China. And through programs, China comes into our country, finds the best research, the best researchers, pulls that research and uses it to fuel their own economy and their own military. We've got to stop that. That's why the Bipartisan Safeguarding American Innovation Act is included in this competitiveness legislation. This legislation is a result of a year-long investigation into this issue. I chaired the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations at the time. We found out what was going on, had been going on for 2 decades, and this legislation is meant to address it. It has the support of the administration, and my hope is that we include that in the final package, because we've got to be sure that we're not just the best at innovation, but that it's not being stolen from us. As a conferee, I'm also pushing for Senator Brown's and my legislation called Level the Playing Field Act 2.0. We already did 1.0. And the administration, through their U.S. trade representatives, has also been very helpful with that and supportive. This, again, is primarily about China, being sure they play by the rules. And if we don't pass this legislation, they'll continue to go around the trade rules that we have and unfairly compete with American workers. We've got to stop that. And this legislation will do that with regard to China. I'm looking forward to moving quickly on all these differences between the House and Senate bill and resolving this, because it's too darn important for America to get caught up in partisan politics here. We've got to keep this as focused as possible on one issue: how to ensure that American workers are given the tools to be able to compete in the global marketplace. If it's a level playing field and they've got the tools, we'll do just fine, right? America will do just fine. So I'm now supposed to introduce my colleague, Sherrod Brown. He's a Democrat, I'm a Republican, and they have me introducing him. I don't know why. But it's because we work together on these issues, and we are co-authors of this Level the Playing Field 2.0. He's also supportive of this broader legislation I talked about, the competitiveness legislation, and it's important that we work together on behalf of the workers of Ohio. Sherrod Brown.